Hello everyone, my name is Ripley and today we are finally building the Mt.Komorebi rental that I've been talking about building for the last month or so. I wasn't super inspired to building this rental, and honestly I was like, oh, maybe I should build something else. I'm not really feeling this, but I thought that, well, I have been talking about building one for the entire month, so I should do that. So I did look at some inspiration pictures to figure out what I wanted to do, and overall I'm actually really happy with this build. I didn't think I was gonna be because I didn't feel super inspired when I started, but with some help of Pinterest and some different Japanese looking houses, I think I ended up with something that I really like. And something that I saw on a few pictures is that the roof doesn't connect completely. So what I did was that on the right side of the house I didn't connect the roofing with the left side of the house, which feels super wrong. I think that's something the first thing that you learn in The Sims when it comes to building is that you connect the roofs, so it felt really wrong to not do that. And at first I wasn't super into that look, but it grew more on me and I actually really like how it looks now. And it also gave a nice kind of separation to the house, and it kind of inspired me to make the right house be more kind of look older. The right side of the house was there before, maybe it was a barn or a shed or it's a really small house, and then the entire left side of the house is an add-on, so it kind of was added on later on. Not saying that that's a modern extension by any means, at least not what we would consider modern. I think that the house is still it looks like it's been renovated on the inside, but it's been renovated for it was renovated 30 years ago maybe. So it's renovated but it's still old. And something that I did to difference this older part of the house with the newer part of the house is the older part is darker. It has those dark brown shingles and the columns are dark brown, whilst the new side of the house is a lighter wood with some more with some areas that just don't have those wood shingles at all. They only have some white and the wooden frames and the wooden columns that go through it. And then with this nice black roofing, which this is my favorite roof in the game. I really like how those roof shingles look and this really nice black color. And for the outside as well, I really want to do a lot of landscaping, but I also wanted to have a place for the Sims to sit. So I did have a look around the neighborhood to see what was on other places, on other houses, and I saw that one of the houses had a gazebo, so I decided to kind of make one myself. And I think it's really nice to kind of difference the outside area by raising it up once. My first time using platforms in a while, which I actually didn't have much problem with the platforms today, which was surprising, I guess. And the kitchen is also raised up as well as part of the master bedroom, and I haven't had too much trouble with them. Usually platforms are super annoying, but for today they actually behaved for once. And for the landscaping outside, I wanted to make it feel very luxurious, I guess, and where I wanted to have a lot of it, so I have those big pink bushes, those azalea bushes, as well as a lot of landscaping all around the house. And I actually, for the outside is the entire build, the house itself is just snow escape, and then the outside, the landscaping, we have the snow escape, we have some cottage living, and a few decorational pieces from Get Together. But otherwise I tried to keep the pack limitation quite low, so I think in the end I ended up using maybe 8 packs. On the inside I'm using seasons as well, cats and dog for some wallpaper. I used one mirror from Jungle Adventure, so if you don't have the pack that's no big deal, it's just a mirror that disappears. And then I used a few stuff from Tiny Living, so I think it's 8 or 9 packs, which I think is pretty good, especially I have a lot of the packs, so sometimes it's hard to limit yourself or you don't really think about the things that you pick. So I did use seasons because those have my favorite curtains, and I used Jungle Adventure because I love that mirror. Otherwise, I wanted to keep it quite simple. I really love how the outside turned out. I think I almost prefer the outside from the inside. The inside is also really good in my opinion, but I really like how the landscaping turned out. It was really fun because I thought about this when I was building as well. That like 6 months ago I would have told her that I hated landscaping and I just wanted to get it over with. But now it's almost my favorite part. And I guess that with the landscaping you can do more things. Like when it comes to doing the interior, I'm always like, it's always the same thing. Like I start with the kitchen, you put out the furnishing, and then you do like everything you need, and then you do the decoration, you do clutter, you do rugs and curtains and like pictures on the wall. And then when you're done with that, you move on to the next room, you move on to like the living room, you do the furnishing, you do the decorating, and then you move on. And it's kind of like the same thing, even though we of course have a lot of different type of furnishing and that kind of stuff. It's still kind of like you kind of do it on autopilot. Whilst for the landscaping, you kind of have to consider a lot more like the area in mind, like what type of landscaping is around the area, as well as kind of, and you do get to do a lot of little things. You get to like mix the colors together, mix what bushes you're using and different trees and that kind of stuff. And I think that doing the landscaping is very therapeutic in a way. Like it's very relaxing and you can just keep doing it for as long as you want, really. So it's really nice and I really enjoy it. And then I decided to put some plants on top of the gazebo as well. And we did have those like hanging leaves on it first. And I thought, well, it would be nice to have some plants on top of it. Kind of just like nature, like reclaiming it. Even though I think that the gazebo is probably the newest addition to this house. If you would imagine that, well, if this would be a rental house, then probably the people that own it, like the people who rent it, might have added the gazebo just for your customers. The people who rent it get to have like an outdoor space. I did put the outdoor fireplace on it as well. I think it could be nice, like in a cold winter or whatever. You can sit outside in front of the fireplace and it would be cozy. And I think it would be really nice when you're like renting a place. There is one fireplace inside as well. It's in the master bedroom. Had I planned it better, then I would of course have had one in the living area as well. But it didn't really fit underneath the windows, and the inside area actually ended up being a little bit smaller than I expected it to be. I guess that's kind of just what comes when you don't really plan the interior before you move on to everything else, because had I not done any landscaping, then maybe I could have made the house bigger, but you know, with all the landscaping, I didn't really want to redo that, and I really like the size of the house. And I didn't really want to mess too much with the roofing because it didn't gonna fit in as perfect as it could. Like I tried to mess around with the house a little bit when I was doing the stairs, because when you do a floor plan that has multiple levels, the easiest way to do the floor plan is to put out the stairs first, because they do, I mean, you need them, and it's really like difficult to put in the stairs last because they take out the most space and they can only be put in certain areas. So I tried to kind of bump out the house just so that the stairs wouldn't be in the way downstairs. But it didn't really work and I didn't really like it, so I was like, well, it's just gonna be, I mean, it looks fine anyways. I actually did end up putting, because we did have a one tile like space around the stairs that ended up being completely useless. So what I ended up doing there, and something that I've done in other houses as well when I had this problem, is I ended up raising up a platform to like level with the stairs, especially because I bended the stairs, so you get like where the bend is, you have like this flat area before the stairs bend, if that makes any sense. So I ended up raising the platform to match that height, and then I ended up putting a lot of different flowers in that. Oh yeah, that reminds me, I used the blooming rooms kit as well for some flowers. But moving on to the kitchen, I used the full Snow Escape set. I don't think it's super common that I use like every single piece of a set. I usually use like counters from one pack and the stove from another, but here I end up using everything from the same pack. I guess it's also like part of me trying to limit myself with packs, but overall I really like the snow escape stuff, and I haven't been using it much lately. And I think that one thing that's great with limiting yourself is that you kind of get to rediscover what you have. Like, I haven't used the snow escape kitchen set in a long time, but I think it's really nice. I did end up putting a little bit of clutter in the cabinets. I think that that's the one thing that might keep people from using the snow escape set, is because it's open, so you have to like clutter them. But I decided to not clutter them too much. With this being a rental as well, it's not like a home, it's not like a house, it's a rental place. It wouldn't be too cluttered. It would just have the things that you seems need, and maybe use some extra few stuff to make them feel welcome, but it wouldn't be cluttered up like a normal home would be. And here is also working on this living area where I caved and used seasons, because honestly these are the best curtains, and there's not really the other curtains that I really like. There must be a few like from paranormal and stuff, but those are very like stylized, so the seasons ones are always a good pick. Then I put in this like Alexa thing, which I usually don't use it often, but I think that a big problem with the Sims is all the like radios look like they are from the beginning of the 21st century. It's nothing like that super modern. Maybe the one that is from like fitness stuff, but otherwise they're not very modern, and it's kind of hard to use them sometimes. So we do only have the like Alexa thing that is like super modern. Which wasn't really what I was looking for either, but I guess you're gonna have to give and take when it comes to that kind of stuff. I don't know how much people use the radio in the Sims. I just think that it's nice. Those rare times that I actually play this game, I really do like to have some music in the background, so it's not super quiet in the game. So I always like to have a radio, and I think that's really nice with those tiny living TVs that they do have a radio and a bookcase built in, because it just kind of relieves you of that problem that none of the radios are like somewhat modern like they are from the beginning of the 21st century. But I didn't really feel like I wanted to use the tiny living TV in this build. And then we have this kind of weird area where you come down from the stairs. It's kind of like a hallway area. It's just kind of where you pass through when you go into like the kitchen or the like living area. So I didn't really know what to do with this. So I just ended up doing it like a hallway. I used it as a place for you to hang off your coat and take off your shoes. And I did also put in a chess table in the middle, because I didn't really know what to put in there. And I think that it's always nice to have a chess table. And now I'm doing this like plant area at the stairs. I really like how it ended up looking, with those hanging plants from the Blooming Rooms kit, as well as that like plant group from Snowy Escape. And moving on to the master bedroom, I actually did something that I normally don't do, which is using carpet. I don't think I've used carpet since maybe even since The Sims 3. Maybe I used it a little bit in the beginning, but carpet in The Sims 4 they are never nice. And honestly, I think that this swatch is the only like this gray swatch is the only acceptable one that we have. All the others are like hideous. So I only have carpet in the master bedroom. There's a bedroom upstairs as well. But I actually think it looks nice, which feels really weird to say because I'm using carpet. But it goes with the bed and it goes with the room. So it's like, okay, maybe carpet feels more grand. I don't know. I don't think the carpet and grand and luxurious go together. But I put it in here and the mattress, and it doesn't look horrible. But with that said, this is probably the only time you'll ever see me use a carpet in any of my builds. And then I end up using the seasoned curtains in here as well. Those are very like multi-purpose, multi-use, like you can use them a lot, and I think that they are the only curtains that can work. And they are very much, I think that those are almost the only curtains that are like you can put them in like any build. And I know that they updated, like they have a bunch of new swatches for the base game ones, but I just can't get myself to use them because I'm so used with them having horrible swatches, so I don't even look at them, even though I'm sure that they have great swatches now. And then I actually kept in the bathroom, or at least the master bathroom. We do have another half bath downstairs as well as a full bathroom upstairs, which I didn't keep in because they're just bathrooms. But I was really happy with this bathroom, keeping the toilet separate from the like main area, because in a lot of Japanese houses the toilet is usually in its own room. And I did also give the toilet room its own sink because it was big enough and it was part of this like master suite, so I thought that made sense. But then in the other room we do have a bathtub, we have 2 showers. I think that maybe the couple want to shower together, which is fine, and we also have a sink in here as well. And then I also put in this table from the Blooming Rooms kit to just kind of have a little bit more decoration, and I add in like plants in a nice way where they're not like too much in the way, as well as putting some clutter on that table, and just decorating this room overall. I usually don't keep in the bathrooms because I think they all end up just looking the same, but I'm actually really happy with how this bathroom turned out, and I guess that maybe taking a break is nice to get more, like when I actually started to furnish this house I felt more inspired, and I have more of this like, this is necessarily not like the style that I normally build in, it's more like this Japanese stuff. And I think that limiting myself and making myself build more this like with this like Japanese stuff, or this Japanese inspired stuff, kinda it in a way it made me more inspired, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep to this style but I can still kind of do whatever I want. So I really just did what I felt like. And then I ended up using these blinds from Snow Escape, which are the best blinds in the game probably, and they're really nice, and I think that they work really well. And then we move on to the second bedroom, which has 2 beds in it, and with the being a rental, like the kids or whoever sleeps in here doesn't need a separate room, as well as you kind of getting in as much people as possible. I did consider using bunk beds, but in that case I would have needed to use the base game ones, and I didn't really think that they fit in because, like I said, I was limiting myself with packs, so I didn't really want to use Dream Home Decorator if I didn't absolutely need to. So I ended up just using the Snow Escape beds and just having 2 beds up here, which I think is better, because I feel like if I had 2 bunk beds, it feels like a prison almost. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I just feel like it would be too crammed. So just having those 2 single beds I think is a lot nicer. And then just putting in a bookcase in here as well as a few other decorations. But with that said, we're about to jump into the tour. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and Happy New Year, by the way. I know that when this video comes out there will be a new year, so I hope you had a great new year. And if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all very soon. Riipley out.